Hello, this is take 2. This is, my lovely intern is just learning how to use Facebook Live, so the first one didn't quite work, but let's try this again. My name is Orianna Lacey with Entrepreneur Social. I'm the founder, and I'm here with Jenn Farrell. Sorry, I did this in the last video. Farrell, like Will Ferrell, with Witness the Fitness. So I will let Jenn Farrell introduce herself.
Hello, I'm Jenn Farrell. I'm a fitness trainer and a coach. I am a Zumba instructor. I am a competitive bodybuilder in the over 45 bikini division, which, yes, is a thing. I just opened my own private training studio right here in downtown Vancouver called Witness the Fitness on Pender Street. In my spare time, I campaign vigorously with my husband to get a dog. I am so far unsuccessful. And I like to shop for makeup.
That's wonderful. Well, thanks for being here with us today. We're very excited to have you.
I'm excited to be here.
The office has been a buzz this morning, making sure that everything's prepared. As an expert, which you are, I would like to start by relating what you do to my lifestyle, and perhaps many of your lifestyles as well. As an entrepreneur, extremely busy. Like, for example, last night, many of you probably saw I posted at 3 a.m. in the morning, just getting a few things done. Attention to detail. Now, I eat out of a magic bullet. That's what I do. That's all I have time for. I automate my meals. My coffee comes out of a machine on a timer. How can you eat well when you're eating out of a magic bullet or eating really quickly and on the go?
It's not that hard. I would say the most important thing to focus on when you're just grabbing things or blending things is to try and focus on your macronutrients, which are proteins, fats, and carbohydrates. Because if you can try and get some of all three of those in every meal and every snack, you're going to feel a lot more satisfied for a lot longer. And you're going to hit all of your bases every time. A lot of times people, if they're making a smoothie, for example, with your magic bullet, they'll throw like a couple of handfuls of frozen fruit in and maybe some juice or water and then wonder why they're like jazzed and then tired and hungry again an hour or two later. So in that case, I would say using something like a protein powder or adding maybe some non-fat Greek yogurt or some nut butter or all of those things really helps kind of ramp up all those macronutrients. And you'll find that you can just go a lot further and a lot longer on your magic bullet.
Oh, wonderful. That's exceptional. So, I have a tiny fridge. I went on Craigslist one day and I was like, I need everything and I need everything in stainless steel. So I got, for $200, I got a fridge, I got a microwave, I have a cooler as well. Keeping that in mind, that I have a very small fridge, what are, like, I can fit barely anything in there. What are some staple items that I can get if I can only get a few at the grocery store to put in that little fridge each week?
Oh gosh, well, fresh fruit and vegetables in small amounts, and I tell people never feel guilty about buying pre-cut stuff if it makes your life easier. It's there. Yes, it's more expensive, but are you going to stand in here like peeling and dicing carrots over your tiny fridge? No, you're not. So go ahead and buy the pre-cut veggies and keep them, and you're that much more likely to eat them. Same with fruit, choose fruit that isn't labor intensive. Berries, apples, bananas. You don't even need to refrigerate apples and bananas. Individual yogurts are great. I'm such a woman, I'm such a yogurt nerd. Yogurt. I love even things like pre-made deli salads. The deli salads have come a long way in the last couple of years. It's not just that gloppy potato salad anymore. Look for things like, quinoa and Greek salad, things with couscous in them are great. And again, fast and easy, and you can just grab a couple days worth, bung it in the fridge, and just have it when you're ready.
Now, I've heard that if produce is left on the shelf for too long or it's too old, that it loses a lot of its nutrients. Now, given the fact that, I get full disclosure here, I live on hot dogs, and to make it worse, I like a little bit of hot dog with my mustard, ketchup, and mayo. Like, I'm serious, like, my fridge only has hot dogs in it, and Tegan is like, that's all you eat. He even brings me food to work sometimes. He's like, Orianna doesn't have time to go out and shop. She has to eat hot dogs all the time. is it true that if produce is on the shelf for too long, it isn't as good for you?
I guess there's a certain drop-off that probably occurs, but, you know, I'm more concerned about eating fruit and vegetables before they go bad, basically. I figure anything before it, you know, starts to smell and look weird and turn into soup in my crisper, if I eat it before then, it's a win. It's a win.
I just pictured that.
Yeah, there's some nasty things in the bottom of my crisper, always, that I'm like, oh, I'm so sorry, I forgot about you.
I might eat
Yeah,
that
I
at
might
some
eat that.
point.
Oh, and I'll push it right to the edge. I'll be like, oh, I can smoothie this. I can smoothie anything. I'll be like, oh, broccoli slaw, sure, I'll smoothie that.
Oh my gosh,
And then I'm like, oh, I'm drinking. I'm like, oh, this is my anything that I try in my home with cooking or smoothie making or baking. If it doesn't turn out, we call it the punishment thing. So I'll be like, oh, I made some really nice punishment cookies today, family.
Oh!
Enjoy these punishment muffins. They're not tasty, but they are extremely good for you. They have like 4 zucchinis in them.
I'm glad my boyfriend isn't here. He would be like, honey, that's you every time you cook. And that's me being punished. Here's what I think. I think that's a great idea. When it comes to smoothies, I'm a minimalist, like getting as few things as possible in a small fridge. Do you have recipes and ideas for like the smallest number of ingredients, but still make great smoothies with them?
Yes, I mean, I love to put everything but the kitchen sink in. I'm kind of a smoothie maximalist, but one thing that I've learned the hard way is that oftentimes, if people are interested in watching their calories and watching their carbohydrates in particular, smoothies can get out of hand really quickly. So if you're, you know, looking to lose some fat, looking to maintain your weight, it's very easy to get excited about a smoothie and suddenly you're drinking, you know, basically a Big Mac in a glass that tastes
It's like Starbucks Frappuccino.
Yeah, exactly. You're having a big fancy dessert in a glass. And don't get me wrong, I love dessert in a glass, but there's a time and a place. So I've had to kind of minimalize my smoothie. So I always start with whey protein. I am a complete non-vegetarian, so I'm comfortable with dairy, I'm comfortable with meat. So I start with just a good basic whey protein supplement.
I'll just interject. There's a huge range in protein powders. Like I'm at Winners and they got protein powder. So I'm like, shop all in one. So I got my protein powder at Winners. But I mean, it comes from Walmart. It comes from Isogenics. It comes from, the guy with the Popeyes.
Yeah.
Is there any difference between any of them? Is there something we should look for that might be better than the other?
Honestly, for very specific training purposes, like I have my pantry is just like these giant plastic tubs of super specific protein powders for specific things. And I think, it really, there's a point where it starts to make a bit of a difference. But for general all-purpose use, if you tolerate milk well, I would say just a high-quality whey protein supplement is going to be fine. In a flavor that you like, I'd say watch for added sugar. The thing about some of the cheaper ones is they're all processed foods, but there's a difference in the quality that they start with and the processing that takes place. So, worst case scenario, you're going to get something maybe with some added sugars in it, some things you don't necessarily want. One thing at the higher end of the scale that comes up a lot is New Zealand whey protein, because that's from the purest, happiest, most magical cows. Yes. Feel their happiness, feel their grass-fed goodness. And it really, it is a lovely, lovely supplement. One thing, if you're really, really keen on bodybuilding and weight training in particular, you want to have a whey protein isolate in your life, because isolate is the one that absorbs the fastest. Your body can pull the protein out of that beverage and start shuttling it into your muscle tissue within about 20 minutes.
Wow.
So you want that fast acting.
Post-workout.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
So isolates are great for post-workout, but for the morning, you might be better off with a blend, which is perhaps a bit of whey protein isolate, a bit of concentrate, and maybe even a bit of casein, which is what makes cheese cheese-like. So it's very thick. And I take that one at night before bed, and it's kind of gross, but it's perfect because it takes a super long time to absorb and break down. So you're kind of feeding your muscles all night. So if you get one with a little bit of everything,
Starving in the morning.
there you go. You need your nighttime.
Oh my God,
Casey and shake.
And I mean, I know that I'm a high metabolism. I know this. We didn't discuss this before, but high metabolism versus slow metabolism. I know when I'm hungry right away and then I eat. I also know when I'm full and I stop immediately. Do you know the difference? Or do you help clients that have a different type of metabolism?
Well, I think I don't want to tell you don't have a high metabolism. I don't want to be that person because you very well might. But I think metabolism is very misleading for a lot of people. Basically, metabolism just means the biochemical processes by which an organism sustains life. So in our human form, that boils down to how many calories in a day do you need to stay alive. And we're talking about breathing, we're talking about your heart beating, just like human function. Your brain uses up a lot of calories. So maybe you're just thinking really hard. That's what I tell myself. I'm like, I need more calories
and I know
than
the
most
brain
people
eats
because
glucose.
here. Yes, it is the preferred fuel
so
for
I need a
all
lot of
of
sugar. I got a candy bowl. Is that good?
Oh, I was going to say that was delicious.
Don't go and buy chocolate when you're hungry because you make bad choices.
But that is in action your body's call for fuel. Very simply, your body's cells love glucose. It's their preferred source. And carbohydrates are not bad for you. Using them well and choosing perhaps better sources of carbohydrates.
Oh, you're so kind, Jen.
Might be a better idea in the long term. But when your body needs fuel, it will direct you to the quickest, most absorbable fuel that it can get. And often that's candy, baby. But yeah, back to metabolism. So you have a certain number of calories that you need per day just to sustain life.
Okay.
And oftentimes we say that, people are genetically gifted, they have high metabolisms, they have low metabolisms, and oftentimes that people are a little heavier or they find themselves gaining weight, they'll be like, oh, I just must have a really slow metabolism.
Yeah.
The unfortunate reality is that if you are a fatter person, your metabolism is actually higher because you have to burn more calories just to stay alive. If you're carrying 50 more pounds than you were a few years ago, your body has to work that much harder just to move stuff around that body. So we're not allowed to say that we have slow metabolisms anymore. That's no excuse.
Okay, thank you for clearing that up. That's good.
But I wanted, if you don't mind, I'm going to talk about, because you just mentioned, you said you get hungry, you need to eat, you know you need to eat, you're very tuned into that, and then as soon as you're full, you stop and you're done. So what that really is, that's part of your whole metabolic package. That's your hormones. So things like leptin and ghrelin, which I'm not going to bore everybody with like a science lesson because I'm not a science teacher, but that just means that your hormones are in excellent check.
Yes.
You are really... Your body is alerting you, you are responding to that alert, and then the alert that says we've had enough has kicked in. When those hormones are not functioning well and those messages are not getting through, that's oftentimes when people find themselves eating compulsively or alternatively not knowing when they're hungry and having to sort of force themselves to eat, or either that or going like 8 hours without eating and then wondering why they're like sitting in front of the TV eating like crazy at 10 p.m. A piece of info, someone who is a late night snacker and always feels ravenous at night and can't figure out why and gets very upset with him or herself, right? Like, why am I doing this? Why can't I stop snacking? That person often turns out to be a breakfast skipper, a person who just like does a grab and go thing for lunch that often is not satisfying. Again, we're talking about, a candy bar or at best maybe a piece of fruit or something.
Yeah.
It often is running on just coffee and adrenaline until about 6 o'clock. Then has dinner and then sits down to watch television. Well, guess what? If you've deprived your body of the fuel it needs all day, there's that message from your body being like, yeah, we don't have enough calories to sustain metabolic function here. We need baseline. So you are driven almost like a, like a puppet by your own body.
Yes, like last night.
Into the kitchen to make up for those calories.
Yeah.
So in a situation like that, I kind of have to nudge people into eating more and earlier in the day. And often that problem resolves itself. And it's an uncomfortable adjustment when you're not used to eating during the day.
Yeah.
It's hard for people. But once they get the hang of it, it often is the thing that makes the change. So eating regularly and eating, again, that balanced combination of macronutrients is often one of the things that can put your hormones back on the right track over time.
That's excellent. I know that my mother is watching right now, and I think she'll find it very helpful because she is always trying to get healthier and be healthier and live a healthier lifestyle and eat properly as well. So I think that she'll be messaging me later telling me that was very, very helpful.
Hi, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
I know how it goes.
All right, let's. I actually want to know more about your career. Like, what brought you to fitness? What drew you to fitness, and how have you built your career?
Okay. I am 45 years old. I think it's important that everybody know that. I'm fine. So I remember the 20-minute workout, and I remember the first wave of the aerobics craze, which was, leotards and those shiny tights and leg warmers and braided headbands. And
cans of soup. My mother, I would work out with my mom in the living room.
Totally. Leg lifts and arm circles.
Leg warmers.
So that was my introduction to fitness in the 80s. And I loved it. I would be 12 years old, and I would run home from school and put on my disco leotard and do the 20-minute workout, and I loved it. And that was, but it never occurred to me that would be a thing that I could do for a living. I idolized those gals in the exercise videos, but I never thought that I could be one. It just never crossed my mind. So fast forward through, the rest of my life, and I never played sports as a child. I did a little bit of gymnastics as a kid. I had to take swimming lessons. I did a bit of figure skating, but I never played a team sport. I was never athletic. I was certainly, I was the kid who was smoking cigarettes behind the bleachers through high school and skipping class. So, not really a star athlete. And then in my adult life, I think I have a lot in common with probably a lot of the folks who are watching, in that I would start a fitness program. I would go to the gym. I would just sort of stand there and be like, I don't really know what I'm doing here. So I would just end up going on the treadmill. I would take fitness classes. And again, a lot of other people, I would start and stop. I would be really diligent for a few months, and then I would just kind of drop off. I had my daughter in my early 20s, so that changed my body at a really pivotal time in my life, and I really felt for about a decade after that I don't really recall doing much of anything consistently. So over the years, and then I became a writer. I was a writer. I worked in writing and publishing for a decade, and I wrote 2 books of short fiction, and I loved my job, and I still love writing and editing, and I was teaching, but I was not physically active. And it got to the point where I was having a lot of back pain. I was getting kind of depressed, which was something that I've had a problem with in the past. And I just thought, this is ridiculous. I know what I need to do here. So I went back to the gym. I started getting more serious about my own workouts. I started reading books and just kind of educating myself and doing more consistent things. From there, it was actually my friends who said, because I was sort of frustrated with my writing and where it was going, and I needed kind of a break from it. And they said, why don't you become a personal trainer? We were out for lunch, I think for my birthday. And I said, that's, the stupidest idea I've ever heard. And then 3 days later, after I'd slept on it and actually thought about it, I'd enrolled, gone back to school, and just spent a year and a bit, just like going hammer and tongs. Got my personal training, my weight training, my group fitness training, all your first aid, all the things that you need to get. And I just embarked on this brand new career. So long story.
But a good one.
But a good one. And I love it. I love it so much.
Have you ever, considering it feels 13 going on 30, I love that movie. It was just so darling. Have you ever considered pulling back the 80s a bit and like in like a boot camp or any kind of routine? I'm asking for personal reasons.
Yeah, I know. Oh my gosh. Well, and I say that I love the clothes from that era, and I still have I have a substantial leg warmer collection, so I'm ready. I'm ready to do that today. If you want to start. I was very lucky. A couple of years ago, I was teaching at a facility, and we did 6 weeks of a flash dance themed fitness class because Flashdance the musical was touring and came through town, and so we went and saw it as our sort of special gift at the end of that class. And so people came to the classes and dressed up, and I did like a whole routine to Maniac, and we did like We Got the Beat by the Go-Go's, and oh my gosh, it was just all right.
Do you still remember any of it?
No,
I won't put her on the spot.
It's just the thing about 80s and even early 90s group aerobics fitness training is that basically like just run in place and like smile a lot and like punch the air in different directions. and then do this and then
like
do
a
this.
dance.
Biceps. Triceps. That's all it is. While like either stepping, side to side or like jumping side to side. That's basically all that happens. And then touch your toes a bunch of times.
Sounds like a decent workout, then go get hot dogs.
Yes, and then have some hot dogs and some chocolate.
That's wonderful. Until now, what are a few of the challenges you've had and yet that you've overcome, that you've seen where everyone else saw plight, that you saw opportunity to grow?
Well, I think when I initially sort of did this career switch from, focused on writing to focused on fitness, a lot of my friends, and I love them, thank you for being so kind, but they said to me, oh, but don't stop writing, and we need your voice, and, how can you, not how can you do this, but in a sense, how can you do this? How can you take a career that you're already successful at, that we enjoy your work and you're very active in this community, and how can you just basically pull the plug on that temporarily at least, and then go focus on this other thing? So it's not like people were terribly pushing back against me, but I did encounter
concerns.
Yeah, there was some resistance to the idea that I was just going to start this new career seemingly on a whim. So that was a challenge because it made me sort of think, am I doing the right thing? But we live long enough now that we don't have to have everything figured out by the time we're 30 or 40 or 50 or whenever. I think it's a great thing for people to keep challenging themselves, keep trying new things, keep discovering new things. And it's worked out so well, and I want to tell everybody you're good at more than one thing.
Yeah.
You totally are. So if you have another passion that you want to pursue, probably go for it. You'll find out soon enough whether it's for you or not, and if it's not, who cares? Just go back to doing something else.
Yeah.
It's not a big deal. But
absolutely.
That one was a big sort of hurdle to get over.
I mean, it's 2016. We're not, when we look at our lives now compared to our grandparents, they had one career. They did one thing, and that's what they did. There was literally no movement in that ladder. But nowadays, you could have 3, 4, 5 careers. Hell, you could have 3 or 4 or 5 husbands or wives in a lifetime. You don't get it right the first time. Try again. Right? This rule applies to everything, especially when it comes to work. Yeah. And I really like what you said about having family and friends that are concerned, because I find that your closest network, when you decide to make a change, to break away from the 9 to 5 and decide to pursue a passion as a business, you will have people who are concerned, and it's a friendly concern. They just want to make sure that you do have stability in your life. But to be honest, 9 to 5 is not stable. I mean, being an entrepreneur is not stable. Nothing is guaranteed, and wouldn't you rather spend 40 years doing something that you love than spending 40 years because of job security?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was very funny, too, to get that sort of sense from people that were concerned, because it's not like writing is a super secure gig.
Yeah.
It's a real, it's a hustle. And if you want to work in the publishing industry, anyone who's been there has discovered that you basically just have to cobble together a life of all these different little things. And that was really, really rewarding and really fun until suddenly it wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just needed to take that break. And now, of course, things are sort of starting to come full circle. Now I'm actually thinking about working on my third book and, incorporating, my fitness expertise into that. So it's amazing how things work out the right way.
That's perfect. That actually leads me into my next question. Building community. How have you used building community around your values, your mission, the vision for Witness the Fitness, to build your wonderful client base? I mean, I've heard your name in many circles, and everyone I speak to speaks incredibly highly of you.
Well, I'm very lucky to be working with, my clients are the smartest people in town. They really are. Hello, clients, you're the smartest people.
You better be watching.
You better be watching. But it's true that I have really connected with some super intelligent, creative, just awesome people. And I think that they have been the ones who have created community. I have not done a lot of work thus far on my end. What they've done is reach out to their friends and family and say very kind things about me. One of the things that going forward I really do want to make more of an effort, because I think, I know all these brilliant people. I know all these great, wonderful brains in these great bodies that I get to train. But they're kind of siloed. I have a very intense personal relationship with each one of those people, but most of them don't necessarily know each other. So while they keep spreading the network out this way, I feel like I'm missing an opportunity to kind of bring everyone to my bosom, whether they like it or not.
I love that.
So I think, things like this, things like social media are the opportunity now as I'm moving into my own studio and really focusing on my business, is how can I create that? How can I build that real sense of community? How can all these really smart people share ideas? Because I'm not the only person with ideas.
Yeah.
Oh my God. It seems like there's an opportunity to leverage all this genius and put it together. So that's one of my goals for sure.
You were mentioning before that you are going to start a video library of moves, of routines. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So what I've discovered with my clients is that I would get, text messages sometimes at weird times of the day being like, what's this side lateral raise again? And then I would either have to find a video that someone else had done, or I would have to just try and explain it or find an image. So it became this whole little thing that would take like 5 to 10 minutes every time someone had a question. And I know for myself it was really useful when I was starting to do my bodybuilding, things like bench pressing. Well, I'd never done barbell bench pressing, until about 2 years ago. So I was like, well, how do you do a good bench press? So then I found videos on YouTube and on different websites of great, demonstrations and descriptions of exactly how to perform exercises. So now I just think it makes sense to create a small library like that. Well, it'll be small to start, it'll probably grow, of the exercises that I do most commonly with my clients. And then when they forget or if they need a refresher, those will always be there.
Brilliant. So you're going to be doing individual moves. Do you think that you'll also do groups? Will you do, like, if people have a goal of, I play tennis, so maybe if I was like, hey, Jen, do you have any videos for tennis workouts? Do you think you'll move in that direction as well?
Yeah, I would love to. One of the things that, I'll have all of my sort of basic movements, like a side lateral raise.
Is that what it is? That,
Jumbo.
that's it?
Well, here's a single
laterals
arm.
to the side,
Right,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I
So-
used to know all
so-
these moves.
So side is kind of redundant there,
yeah.
but yeah, you get your dumbbells and you do 2 arms, or you do 1 arm at a time,
do-
or
I think
use
I
a
can do
cable.
15 if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
I'm working
Oh, they
on
hurt.
it.
They hurt.
Yeah, the muscle is, I don't even know what muscle you use, but it's not very strong on me.
It's top of the deltoid.
Top of the deltoid.
That's where you really want to feel. Don't go higher than shoulder height. You don't want to impinge on your shoulder joint.
No.
See, these are the things that the library will have in them. So
Yes.
things like that, but
Good.
also, yeah, groups and sort of themes of specific exercises. One thing I get from my clients a lot is, how can I work out at home or when I'm traveling? And they often say, I only have a band, or I only have a set of 5-pound dumbbells, or I have nothing. Please help me. I have a coffee table.
Yeah.
And there's always, I have a chair, I have a counter, and there's always something to be done.
So if anyone has any items that they have at home and they're wondering, hey, I only have a chair at home, what can I do with a chair? This will be your time to tweet in. I didn't mention at the beginning of the video, the hashtag is hashtag TES Witness the Fitness. That's WTF, right? So TES WTF. And you can find the hashtag if you forget that. There's a couple of posts all over the place, and I've tweeted it a bit. So you can join in and ask us a few questions.
Cool. Yeah, so that'll be one of the first things that I do is target those kind of very specific questions about what can I do with this or in this situation.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, that I find that a lot of times people have back pain, hip pain, different sports like tennis, like golf. You know, I hate to say it as the rain pours down outside the window here, but ski season is coming. It's coming. It's summer's pretty much over. So ski-specific workouts and training and stretching as well, not just preparing for sport, but you know how to target different things that tend to tighten up when you play a certain sport. All that stuff is coming, slowly but surely, or quickly. I'm not sure where it's coming.
Yes, well, as soon as it comes, we'll be sure to. Hopefully, Jen will post some videos on the Facebook page and the group, because I think it's important that I can't get to the gym very often. I mean, as we can see right here, I have a ball and I have a really cushy mat that I use to do body movement and to focus on stretching and to also use my own body weight in exercises. And I mean, sometimes that's the only way I can get a workout in when I'm working long hours. Building the dreams.
The ball is great.
Helping connect all of you.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, I'm going to bring it down a notch to be a little bit more serious. If you had 2 superpowers, what would they be?
Well, that is serious.
Very serious.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Silence.
So my first one would be to be able to be fluent in every language in the world, like to read it, write it, speak it, understand it, all of them, just with like that. Because then you could go anywhere, and that would be so exciting. It would just be so exciting to land somewhere and be able to read street signs and know where you're going and understand what kind of conversations people are having, and like take in, be able to read their books and go to a movie and just talk to people, go to restaurants. Like you could just go around the whole world and just know what people were talking about, and I think that would be really rewarding because
Like
you wouldn't.
chip.
Yeah, like you wouldn't miss anything.
Yeah, that's true.
And what a great way to be able to talk to people and get to know people and find out, learn.
Yeah.
That would be a magic trick. And that replaces my former wish for a superpower of like flight or invisibility. What am I going to do with being invisible?
What
am I
about
going to do?
flying? Oh, the freedom.
Flying would be pretty cool. But I think, if I could speak and understand all languages, I could probably be successful enough to like buy a plane and just go where I need to go.
Oh, yeah, no,
I don't need to
that
fly.
would be incredible.
So that's right up there for sure.
Oh, brilliant. I think those are great answers. Moving forward, what would you say what are you most excited about what you're working on currently?
So, oh God, okay. So I'm really excited, like lie awake at night excited. I sleep like a log and I keep, waking up in the middle of the night just thinking about this. So it's like, it's close to Christmas almost. I have started a Shape Up Camp, a 28-day challenge program. And I've done boot camps before, so I'm hesitant to call this a boot camp.
Mhm.
Not that there's anything wrong with boot camps, but I think it sets up an expectation in people's minds that we're going to be running around in that rain, if you can hear it, and I'm going to be screaming at you. I want to see you push it.
Get down and give me 20.
Yeah, just and like calling people maggots and things, and that is just so not what this is. But what it is definitely challenging. So it's 28 days, it's a month of workouts. So my small group will meet in the gym twice a week with me, and I put them through their paces for an hour at a time. So that's twice a week. But again, unlike sort of your conventional boot camp where you do that, a couple mornings a week and then you're on your own the rest of the time, like I'm never not on you. So there's a daily email. There are tons of things coming down the pipe at you in terms of your meal planning, nutrition, lots of like little fitness hacks and nutrition hacks, just simple habits that people can build over the course of that 28 days to get eating a little bit better, moving a little bit more. So there's homework always, but it's always really manageable. So for example, if I know that you just have your exercise ball and this much space and a mat, you're going to do 2 additional workouts on your own. And there's going to be, they're going to be really easy to do. It's going to take, minimal time, minimal equipment. So that way, I'm trying to remove as many barriers as possible to people being able to do this. If you can come in and see me twice a week, the rest of the time you can just go about your life, right? You can, you're going to be observant of your food. You're going to learn some new stuff. Every day you're going to get a new tip, some of which will like really resonate with you. Others, but over the course of 28 days, I hate that thing where people are like, it takes 21 days to make a habit. Yeah, no, it doesn't. Have you ever, like, honestly, has that ever happened? And it won't all get done in 28 days or 21 days, but what will happen is you will find a couple of things to really focus on that are really important to you.
That's wonderful.
And hopefully you'll want to keep going, because at the end of 28 days, I'm hoping you're seeing and feeling real results. It doesn't take long if you've been not doing a lot of stuff to just kind of kick it up a notch and be like, yes, I've lost a couple pounds, or I feel stronger, or my back doesn't hurt. I'm so stoked about it. So first rollout is coming next week, and I've got an early morning time slot, possibly an after work one that I might add in, even a lunch hour. So
brilliant.
I'm just going to see what happens.
So people can just get in touch with you if they're curious, or if they have questions, if they can fit into their schedule, or etc.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I know it's a bit overwhelming to consider all these things, and a lot of times I must say that a lot of people right now are like, "Oh, it's September is such a busy time, and my kids are going back to school, and work is ramping up, and blah 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 blah." And I get it. I understand that this is not maybe the most convenient time to begin a new fitness program, but if I waited till the time was right or perfect for everybody to do this, it would never happen. It would never happen. There's always a reason, quote unquote, not to do something. So my invitation to you is, if you're feeling a little overwhelmed, if you're feeling fearful about something like that, if you're feeling doubtful, if you're feeling overwhelmed, that's okay. We all feel that way every time we start something new. It's perfectly normal. Do it anyway.
And there's a lot of crossover because in the entrepreneur industry, I get questions like this all the time. I actually did a blog post for all of you in the Entrepreneur Social, and it talked about when it was right to move from part-time to full-time. Part-time to full-time entrepreneur from your 9-to-5 job. And the answer is, there's never an exact right time. I mean, there's obviously, you could think, okay, 30% more, I'm making 30% of my current wages in my new company, sure. But you have to just make that leap of faith. Same with getting married, right? Same with having kids. Starting a new fitness regime, getting a routine.
Yeah,
You
all
gotta
those
jump.
things. Yeah, and there's never an ideal time. In fact, I often find that when I get the most busy and feel the most overwhelmed is when I will just start adding more stuff to my plate. I don't know if that's just masochism, but I'm like, well, everything's already crazy. I'm going to train for a Spartan race at the same time.
Yes. Do it all at once.
That seems like a great idea. But yeah, it's like, what can I try? We don't take on more than we can handle, and we can handle a lot more than we think most of the time.
Yep, I agree. Well, that wraps up my questions. I'm gonna actually have a look and see if we have any questions from our audience. Now, again, the hashtag is hashtag TESWTF, right? So if you want to use a hashtag and tweet to us right now, we can ask some questions. But I see we already have a couple of questions, so we are going to address those questions now. So one of the questions that we had come in was from Elena. Thank you, Elena. The question was, it's a good quote. I'm a huge Tony Robbins fan. I'm an even bigger fan of people who actually apply what Tony Robbins says, not just share and tweet, but actually reflect on what he says. I think it's brilliant. She asks if you can reflect on this quote, actually. Nothing can drag you down if you're not holding on to it.
It reminds me of the I think it's a Buddhist story about the two monks who are traveling together, and they're not allowed to interact in any way with women. And then there's a woman who is, I'm doing the worst job recounting this story ever, but there's a woman who's stuck on like one side of a river and she can't get across. And so the older monk, gathers her up in his arms and kind of puts her on his shoulder and goes across the river and puts her down on the other side. And then the monks, and not a word is exchanged, and they keep going. And the younger, keep doing that. It's my Apple Watch. Clang! As they're walking, continuing, the younger monk is going over it in his head, like, how could he do that? Like, we're not supposed to touch women, and what is he thinking about? And, should I ask him? Is he concerned? And he was just going over and over. And finally, after like a few hours of just agonizing over it, he turned to the older monk and said, we're not supposed to touch women. It's like a vow that we take. How can you do that? Like, what are you thinking? What are you feeling? What's going through your head? And the older monk just turns to him and says, I put that woman down 4 hours ago. Why are you still carrying her? So
that makes sense.
That's what that story makes me think of. But it is amazing how much we carry, and I think so much of the things we carry are about we don't want to let anyone know we're carrying them, and we carry a lot of shame about things. I'm reading a lot of I'm reading Brene Brown's Daring Greatly right now, and her research on shame is just fascinating, and how in order to be free of shame, you have to do the thing that is most uncomfortable, which is speak it and allow yourself to be vulnerable in that situation.
Yeah.
That's the only way you
Authentic.
can begin. And real, and that's the only way that you can begin letting go of that stuff, right? But we just carry like knapsacks full of stories about ourselves, very few of which are actually true. I learned to drive about 5 years ago, and that was, I firmly believed I carried a knapsack around full of stories about how I was too stupid to drive, because I failed 3 times in a row when I was 16. And I remember that I
did too.
Yeah, it was so hard. And I just was like, well, and my parents helped back this up, that I was, too scatterbrained and too flighty and not paying attention and all these things that I was not. So when I finally passed my driving test at the age of about 40, I went back to the car and I said I passed. My husband was sitting there and he was all excited. He was so proud of me. He was like, do you want to drive home? And I was like, no.
That's so cute.
And I started bawling, and I cried for probably like an hour without stopping. And he was just like, what is the matter? It's so great that you passed. And I was grieving, because I realized only then that for 25 years I had been telling myself that I was too stupid to drive. Like, I honestly, like, believed that with every fiber of my being. And when it was proven to me that it wasn't true, it was just, like, the hugest emotional outpouring that, like, oh my God, that I can let that go now.
Yeah.
I can let that go now. And it was, like, 25 years of that. So, yeah, you don't realize how heavy it is until you set it down.
Yeah, and sometimes you don't realize how much of an effect that perhaps other people and their opinions have actually affected the way you look at yourself and the way you behave, and how much you think you can achieve when really you should never compare yourself against anyone else. You should only be comparing yourself against what you and you can do. And you know what? I've told people this. I tell everyone in my circles this. This is really, really important to me. I believe in empowering people, whether it's with my interns or my staff, my best friend, my parents, my family. I believe that if you come to me and you're feeling bad or you can't do something, my only response is, what are you going to do about it? And I don't stop asking that question until they tell me. Because as soon as you can tell me, that it always lifted a weight off my shoulders and my chest when I was like, all right, I feel bad. I'm looking inward. I'm looking down for a few minutes. And then I'm like, okay, well, what's done is done. How can I move forward? How can I, take control of the situation? How can I not make this happen again?
Yeah. It's always just finding, like, when I'm fearful, it's like, what one thing can I do in this moment that's, like, doable?
Phenomenal. Thank you. That was great.
Thank you.
We have another one here from Francesca, looks like. Thank you. Okay, so this is interesting. Thought leaders are saying that fitness is being used to fight depression and fatigue in entrepreneurs. What are your thoughts? I guess how can it fight depression?
Oh my gosh.
Tiredness.
So much science.
You're asking hard questions.
It's really, there comes a point in scientific research where there's enough of a body of research that we can just accept something as like a universal truth. And that's sort of where we are right now in terms of the data that's available on fitness and depression and other forms of, mental illness or just general, right from mental illness right down to like a serious case of the Mondays. It's amazing. The challenge becomes when we're dealing with a population who are truly struggling with depression. If you or anyone that you have in your life who you love has actually been, clinically diagnosed as depressed or is dealing with even a low-grade depression, it is extraordinarily difficult to just go to those people and be like, what would do you a world of good? A nice brisk walk in the sunshine. It's hard. It's really hard. So,
all right. Take 3. Phone died. That's all right. Well, we're actually just wrapping up now, and we have a lovely gift for our guest. Thank you again for coming in, Jen. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me.
Wonderful. It's a little something. You can open it now or later. You may want to keep it, or you might want to pass it on. It'll make you smile. And there's a card in there as well. Thank you.
Oh my goodness. I'm going to go right to the present, which is not good etiquette. You should always open the card first. I'm going right to the gift. You could just give me the balloons and I'd be happy. Are you kidding me? I love balloons. I'm just going to dig right in here.
Do it.
Oh my God.
So it's just a little thing, but
it's unicorn snot. It's glitter gel for body and face. I just want to rub this all over my entire face.
I thought,
body.
a little bit of 80s. You can put it on there with this spandex. And
look, I'm like a 4-year-old. I'm like, let's do it right now. Let's open all of the presents.
Isn't that great?
Oh my God, look at it. I'm so sparkly. Can you see that? Oh God, look at all that. Okay, now I've gone a little overboard. Now this is upsetting. Oh yeah. You know what this makes me want to do? Go to like a rave. Do they still have those? I'm 45.
Oh,
Thank you so
You're
much.
very
I'm
welcome.
the sparkliest lady in town now.
thank you for joining us,
Oh my
and
gosh, thank you.
we will keep in touch.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, and have a great Friday, TGIF.